Corporation and News Corp chairmanship. What does it mean? I don't know. It means that the real life secession, I guess, is ending, just like the television HBO series that I loved so much. Don't know how much I love the ending. I'm still thinking about that. But in any case, his son, Lachlan Murdoch, is taking over. And for those who watch Secession, you just wonder how much backstabbing, wheeling and dealing and wheedling was going on behind the scenes. He says his son is a passionate, principled leader. And of course, I think about the HBO show. But I also think about what this does to the landscape, right? The media landscape. Probably nothing. I'm pretty sure Lachlan will follow right along in Rupert's footsteps, but we shall see. The word is, NBC News and others are reporting that there's hope in the writer strike, that the talks on yesterday were productive, and they're hoping that we could see some more progress. They're saying writers and producers are getting close to a deal. That's good news. More high-level executives jumping in because there's pressure, even though there's a number of different ways where they seem to be finding models for profiting off of or thriving, i.e. canceling expensive contracts that they probably wanted to get rid of anyway or suspending them. But last night, the Writers Guild and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers released a joint statement saying they plan to meet again today, and that is good news. Let's go to Fred, calling us from the Crenshaw District. Hotep Ola Jumbo.
Good morning, Sister Dominic.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, my sister?
Good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, the thing about the impeachment of Donald Trump. See, the Republicans are mad because the Democrats plan to nail Trump to the wall. See, if I were up in the Washington, D.C., I would go after Jared Kushner. See, Jared Kushner is trying to be a knight in shining armor. He's done a lot of stuff, and the Republicans right now, they don't have any proof that Biden was doing stuff under the table, and now we got Trump there running, and he has refused to debate. What is up with that? They got another one coming up, and he's already said he's not going to appear, even though he's number one for the GOP. If I'm running for office, I need to show up, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. He doesn't need to, because he's a one-man circus, and we, the media, follow him wherever he goes, Fred, right? So he's going to the picket lines, which I think is a brilliant move on his part, and I never thought I'd say those two words in the same sentence, Trump and brilliant. But it is a brilliant move. It's a brilliant circus master checkmate to Biden. And I agree with what Tavis was on a rant about yesterday. He can't allow that. He's got to be out there on the picket lines, or he's got to one-up him by making a deal, helping to make a deal so there's no picket line for Biden to go to. That would be a masterful checkmate, double checkmate. Okay, you can tell I don't play chess. But the point is that Trump is a showman. He's doing what he does, and he is just really taking the spotlight not only away from the other Republicans, but away from the president of the United States, who's supposed to be this big labor guy. So this should be his shining moment.
Yeah. Well, I know they said that Joe Biden is pro-labor. So what is the reason why he's not out there on the picket line?
Right.
If he can't go, maybe Kamala Harris can go out there. Somebody. Because, like you said, well, that really don't look good. You happen to know when the next Republican debate is going to be 5 candidates as opposed to 8 that they had before. You heard anything about that next debate?
Not much. I think it's going to be pretty boring.
Yeah.
And since none of them really stand a snowball's chance, unless Trump, has an overdose of Diet Coke and, needs medical care. Other than that, I don't see any of. I mean, DeSatan is down to 10%. He was at 17. That's moving in the wrong direction. So I don't see the
Well,
point in
yeah,
really watching it. And and
no,
Trump
I'm
will be
just wondering.
stunting on the picket line. So
Uh, but see, if he gets in the door, I was thinking the other day on MSNBC News, he wants to get rid of unions, wants to get an overtime pay. You need those, whether you're in the private industry or civil service. So I think it's going to end up being Trump and Biden, and
yeah.
Biden's going to pull up all the people got to come and get behind Biden like we did 4 years ago.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful because right now they're polling neck and neck. And here's the thing. Biden is losing some of those labor people to Trump. And I know that from when I was fighting to help Karen Bass become the mayor of Los Angeles. Talking to union members, watching who the different unions endorse. Yes, a lot of the solidly black, solidly progressive unions, i.e. the carpenters, right, stood with Karen Bass, but there are plenty, and it's not just the so-called police unions or police associations. It's, the MAGA influence has infiltrated unions, especially among those unions which are dominated by white men, of which there are many. And here's the thing. You can say, and I can say, they're voting against their best interests. And if you break it down, that's likely true. I mean, I feel strongly that it's true. But if they're being divided along racial lines, a la 1921 Black Wall Street, they're thinking, he's got my back. And it's really along racial lines, even if it's not overtly stated. He's got my back. America Great Again means when black people were in our so-called place, when women were in our so-called place. And so you can call it an illusion, a delusion, or whatever you want to call it. But the MAGA fake populism has made some serious inroads in the labor union movement. And Biden's going to have to stop the bleeding, or he won't have the people that he needs to get him across the finish line in 2024. Love to hear your thoughts. 800-920-1580 is KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, children are the future. Here, tobacco companies are committed to higher education, offering scholarships to students who submit essays about the benefits of vaping. The tobacco industry even sponsors summer camps for kids. Don't worry, the tobacco-sponsored programs have been linked to leaving your kids more interested in smoking. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the world's deadliest industry is your child's friend.
See reality at undo.org.
He said 1,500 hours.
Dax's hangar flies high thanks to his military precision.
Rob, you copy?
He wants to land some aircraft mechanics, preferably with a military background.
Okay, I wasn't aware of a new timeline. Cancel. Stand by for new assignments.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer, and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Yep, as always, it's a lot going on. And to your point, Fred, the march, I guess you could say, to impeach the current president is moving forward. It's crazy to me because it seems like such a waste of time and money right now. But that is, you haven't figured out how to not shut down the government in less than 2 weeks. But on September 28th, you're going to start the first hearings on the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Haven't figured out how to completely stop this inflation. Haven't agreed to appointments, military appointments across the board to keep our armed forces moving. Haven't figured out how to deal with any of our major problems, how to feed folks, how to get folks into housing and off these streets. But September 28th, right around the corner, we're going to waste a whole bunch of time and money in trying to impeach Joe Biden for something. Those are the kinds of things that, tell you where people's priorities are. And I think it's really a shame. I get, you want to make sure you can say impeached President Biden, just like we say twice impeached President Trump, the only one to be twice impeached. Speaking of impeached or people we wish had been impeached, disgraced, racist LA City Councilman Kevin De Leon has asserted that he'll be running for re-election, which is, if you've got a lot of nerve as a person. I hope that people don't forget. I hope he gets his butt handed to him, really. Because what we don't need right now is more division in our city or our nation. Let's go to Kwamel calling us from Gardena. Hi, Kwamel.
Hello, young lady. Give me a moment here. I did a thing. All right. I'm just going to start talking right now because we got your boy, Kevin De Leon, mentioning him. Yeah, I saw that. And I don't see how or where there are any people that are willing to stand behind him and suddenly say, if we reelect you, you'll suddenly have a voice again. And I'm wondering if has the council been working with him, or they kind of just ignore him? I don't.
Well, he's voting. He's voting. They need, he's voting. I don't know how much they're working with him. He's still off of his committees, but I mean, I haven't seen any polling in months. But last time I saw polling, he was still holding some support, even though it had dropped drastically. The thing that worries me about disgraced racist council member Kevin De Leon is that he's crafted a strategy of using anti-blackness as a campaign methodology. The dog whistles or dog sirens, 25 black people yelling commentary. I feel like he's trying to get those Latinos that are more recent immigrants or that have voting rights, or people that are older that have less contact with black people. When you get into the Chicanos and the younger folks, it's harder to just scare them about black people. But I think he is using anti-blackness as a re-election strategy.
I'm going to go into some wrestling terminology for a minute. I wonder if everything about him being progressive at the time prior to the tape was all kayfabe. You know what I mean? If it was all just a pretense because, if I'm down with Newsom, if I'm down with Maxine Waters, if I'm down with these different folks, maybe I might get some traction up in this ultra liberal state, and maybe this is the real him coming out. I don't see where he could do this with any kind of integrity.
I mean, you can be progressive and still be an a-hole, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah, of course, all the way. Because you're still learning. Because you're still learning. You're still evolving. I mean,
but
I think the
and
darndest
also
progressives
everyone,
have something problematic about them.
right? And everyone has their personality, but this is beyond that. I mean, this is to be a racist, right? A sexist, an anti-renter, and a self-hater because he didn't even defend himself against the anti-indigenous claims. I think that I think you're right, Kwamel. If you truly break it down, he's not progressive because how can racism and anti-indigenousness really be progressive? But I think he considers himself that. And
Well,
it makes me angry that out of one side of his neck he's telling Tavis that's not in my heart, and on the other side of his neck he is actively pursuing a strategy of anti-blackness for re-election.
well, one thing you got to keep in mind is the whole thing of white liberals, for instance. Like everybody likes to dunk on white liberals all the time because it's seen as kind of like this poster idea of that you're knee jerk doing the right thing or you're performatively doing the right thing, but in many ways you're tone deaf or in many ways you like the status quo. So De Leon could easily be the brown version of that,
Yeah.
And it's something as if you pursue a progressive worldview, you have to think about, you have to look at yourself. And that's why I was talking about the FD signifier guy the last time I called, because someone like that who's willing to examine, unpack, and then question self, that's very important. Real quick though, reason I called is I was listening to the convo with Taco, and it's just something about when the word hip hop gets mentioned that's a little bit of a young trigger for me, Dominique, because I still don't like the idea of hip hop basically meaning black people behaving badly, or that it's for and about black people behaving badly. The whole thing of handing all the foolish street music and labeling it hip hop, I felt radio and media as a whole has made a huge mistake with that. Even if they felt like, oh, blazing most hip hop and R&B made money, the people that make that stuff don't see it as hip hop. They thought hip hop was weird, silly, not serious and all happy, airy fairy, versus that good, real, street gangster thug, pop these pills and pop other things I'm not going to say on the air type stuff. So
but isn't all of it hip hop? I mean, isn't it all? I mean, I know some people say, well, this is hip hop and that's rap, but to me, it's all part of the same thing. It's different. Different faces of the same. I don't want to call it a monster being.
No, I feel like a lot of people have the opportunity to rap and make money of it because of hip hop, but they were never intending to make hip hop. So that's a thing that, because I felt like we were doing a real good job reclaiming it this year after kind of writing it. I was like, that's that rap stuff we don't like, and even the craft of rap, because I've been writing all month. My man Miles, I was like, oh, he put me on with just showing me crazy pen game. I was like, look, this man's he's been penning. So got me penning as well. And just remembering that the craft of rap, still matters and still can say very much. A real quick shout out, even though I don't think she listens to way in LA, but my good friend Alexis Hayes, now she's down South Alabama and Atlanta and all that, pulled over her coworker's stepson, a 13-year-old kid, and said, okay, you're over here, getting detention and suspension in school because you're rapping about, you claim you're a rapper, but you're rapping about money and sex and drugs and all this stuff. It's like, okay, well, why don't we take the skill you got, the craft that you're pursuing, and rap about something different? Because rap, let alone hip hop, is not just all this behaving badly, debauchery and underworld foolishness. And that's the thing that we have to reclaim and not so quickly attach the word hip hop, to this stuff. But I thank you for your time.
Okay, I mean, I can see that. Yeah, the good, the bad, the gangster, the creative. To me, it's all part of hip hop, just like, rom-coms and documentaries and mafia movies are all part of film, right? I understand what you're saying as far as equating the two, that hip hop equals black people behaving badly, which is a funny way of putting it. To me, though, and I have friends that are artists that we've had this conversation before, which is the issue now is that we don't have the variety. We don't have the options, at least not in the mainstream. Yeah, you can go seek out some underground that does moves in just about any way you want it to. I mean, there's infinite possibilities on YouTube and wherever else it is, SoundCloud, wherever it is, mixtapes. But as far as the mainstream offerings of radio and award shows, we don't have that much variety. And I think that's the real issue. It's not, to me, that we have to censor this or disparage that. We can make choices. But I think the fact that we don't get that range so much anymore. We don't get that range. I feel like record companies and award show, parent companies, which are probably the networks and such, have decided this is what sells, or this is what we want to sell, or maybe a combination of both, and that's what's constantly put forward. Is that changeable? Yeah, just like fashion. One day they convince you your jeans have to have wide legs, the next they have to have skinny legs. One day they have to be tight, then they have to be baggy, then they have to be tight again. That is the power of advertising, the power of the culture, the power of peer influence. Will it happen? I don't know. I just like to see more of a variety. We have a special guest when we come forward. Dr. Cindy Trim is joining us. Also looking forward to Hour 3. We'll be talking with columnist and author Caitlin Moran. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
We're nearing the end of a work week. It's Thursday, September 21st. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In California, the FBI is offering a $25,000 reward for information that will help solve a murder case in Inglewood. Kevin Harris, a 21-year-old African-American music producer, was shot to death in 2009. Harris was shot while sitting in his car outside of a music studio. Investigators believe someone knew he was going to be there and targeted him. Americans will have access to more free COVID-19 home tests. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said Wednesday that the government is relaunching a program to provide free tests. Households can order 4 tests from covidtests.gov starting September 25th. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Start saving on the road with Valero's 100 Days of Summer. Get fuel-saving snacks, swag, and more every day all summer long. Only with Valero Pay Plus. Download the app and start saving right now. Additional terms and conditions apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers' 5-game winning streak came to an end last night. Detroit beat the Dodgers by 2. The Giants are in town. They begin a 4-game series with the Dodgers tonight. Important series for the Giants. They're 17 and a half games behind the Dodgers, but still can make the playoffs. The Giants are battling for a wild card spot. First pitch tonight is 7:10. The Rams traded running back Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings. In return, the Rams get a 6th-round pick from the Vikings in 2026. The Rams have been trying to unload Akers for more than a year. If you need some football tonight, the NFL has a Thursday night game for you. The New York Giants at San Francisco. The 49ers are one of 8 undefeated teams in the NFL heading into Week 3. 5:15 p.m. kickoff. You can catch the game live on Prime Video. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Applications are now being accepted for the City of Los Angeles Emergency Renters Assistance Program. The program provides up to 6 months of rental arrears to low-income residential renters who are at risk of homelessness due to unpaid rent as a result of COVID-19 or other financial hardship. Applications will not be accepted after 6 p.m. on October 2nd, 2023. Go online 24/7 at housing.lacity.org or call 888-379-3150 from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and see if you qualify. Apply today.
Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580. Are you worried about your credit score? Well, look, you can rebuild it. There are lots of factors that go into determining your credit score, but one of the most effective ways to improve your score is to consistently pay your bills on time, over time. If you're forgetful about payments like me, try automating your bill payments. That way all your creditors get paid on time and you'll have freed yourself of trying to remember. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason from KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, if you're in the market for the best prices and the fastest delivery for custom-made roller shade, LA Custom Blinds is the place to be. Schedule a free estimate and they will come to your house, measure your windows, and bring a variety of fabrics to choose from. And then come back and install it all for free. The best part is that their factory is located right here in downtown Los Angeles, so they make the shades really fast. All you gotta do is go to lacustomblinds.com and schedule your free in-home estimate right now. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you.
Extreme heat can make you very sick and can be deadly. For Californians 65 and over, it's important to have a plan. Ask your healthcare provider if your medications affect your ability to cool down. Know the signs of heat illness and stroke, as well as the location of your nearest cooling center or air-conditioned space. And if you have loved ones over 65, be sure to check in on them on hot days. Learn how to stay safer from extreme heat at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the state of California.
When my family does Walt Disney World Resort, we do it big.
Bippity boppity big, like Cinderella Castle.
Uh-huh, big, like those juicy turkey legs from Gaston's Tavern.
It doesn't get any bigger than the Tam Tam Drummers. Get it, Grandma.
Yeah, and big like Goofy's kicks. Oh, yeah.
It's your world, so do it big at Walt Disney World Resort.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
I know exactly what you're thinking. I've had those thoughts a million times. I can see the question that's behind your eyes. Oh, you're searching for your peace of mind. Listen up to this truth. You are me and I am you. Every one of us is worthy. Baby, girl, worthy woman. Every one of us is worthy. I know your life, I felt your pain. I know your joys and your shames. Sometimes it feels like life walks over you, or like you're a penny on the ground. But either on the ground or in your purse, the smallest piece still holds its worth. Every one of us is worthy. Baby, girl, worthy woman. Every one of us is worthy. Baby, girl, worthy woman. Every one of us is worthy. Worthy of love. Worthy of life.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Say you know when something don't feel right.
Sending you love this morning.
This is a song for you.
Uplifting you this morning. And you're always invited into the conversation. As I always, through all of the ups and downs and craziness in the news, want to uplift us and focus on things that are positive, things that are inspiring. I've talked to you about this 50 over 50 list from Forbes. It's 50 women over 50 who are supposed to be successful. Now, concerning the world of business, concerning the world of innovation, that are meant to be successful. And I love, and I'm going to keep talking about this, the fact that 26 of those 50 women this year are black women doing amazing and incredible things, ones you've heard of and ones you haven't. And while it's true, every one of us is worthy, it's worth reminding ourselves that there are worthy colleagues, adversaries, and potential friends out there doing what they do. Claudine Gay breaking yet another glass ceiling as University's 30th president, first woman of color ever to lead one of the country's oldest and most prestigious universities. Her parents are Haitian immigrants. She went to Stanford, went to Harvard for her PhD, and now she is the leader of that university. And she is going to have to navigate these crazy times as we see the end of affirmative action. Just as we see the first woman in Los Angeles ever to be the chief executive in Mayor Karen Bass happens to be a black woman. So just a little bit of worthy conversation for you this morning to keep ourselves encouraged. I think that's part of our job, to keep ourselves and one another encouraged. And my next guest checking in kind of specializes in just that. She is a voice of faith and hope for the world. She says, from pulpits to boardrooms to government entities, she provides counsel for the multitudes. She's the founder of her own ministries and a C-suite business consultant, a life strategist, and a spiritual advisor to, among others, Les Brown. Dr. Cindy Trim, welcome.
Hey there. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning. You've got a new book, The Unstoppable Woman, Compete with Your Best Self and Win. I know that, that's for those of us who are very competitive. We live in a competitive world, especially as women. The idea of competing with ourselves is a way of not getting caught up in a rat race, right? Of setting
Exactly.
a bar that can be healthy for ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of times I see competition. I tell people all the time, don't try to be the best, be the only, and you'll have no competition.
Mm. And, I'm a big consumer of self-help books, Dr. Trim. I think maybe I need more help than most people. I read a lot of them. I do the little exercises and meditations and affirmations. And I do find it helpful. But there is a cycle there, too, I think. And maybe my mind is here because we're going to be talking with Caitlin Moran next hour. And we're talking about, men. But I think in the space of feminism and trying to be a progressive woman, there's a little bit of a feeling like we have to be perfect. We have to be, perfect mom, perfect organizer, look good at all times, always bettering ourselves. And I wonder if that is actually compatible with self-care in some ways.
You brought up so many different topics. You brought up the whole topic of personal development, and the word personal says that you're developing yourself. That includes self-care, but it also includes self-knowledge. I think knowing who you are is the beginning of success. Most people are other people, and they're comparing themselves with other people. I often say that your greatest challenge is the next best version of yourself. And every birthday you get introduced to her, and you get 1 year to know her. And we are all often challenged to be something that we're not. And one of the things I do is to help people to figure out how to be themselves in a world that wants them to be something else. And this is what this book is all about. You get 1 year to know the next best version of yourself. And then on the next birthday, you have to say goodbye to that version and hello to another version. And I encourage people to take what I call me moments, a time where you're nurturing your greater self, you're looking at your vision. I think everyone should have a 20-year vision for themselves, that they should write their vision and that they should make that vision plain and then live according to that vision and have faith in themselves and their ability, and to understand that life is filled with algorithms that actually benefit us. So it's taking the time to have mindset mastery and to really know who we are. And the success you will find in being rather than doing.
Yeah, that is something I do hear spiritual teachers across different disciplines and also self-help folks talking about, is the difference between being and doing. So go a little deeper on that.
Yeah, I think, when we talk about self-care, how can you care for a self that you don't know? And most of us, between the ages of 0 and 7, we live in a theta zone where we're taking things in, and it's like living in a matrix. We're not necessarily conscious of what people are putting into us. I call it programming. And then we have to, in our adult life, deprogram ourselves and then reprogram ourselves at the level of our authenticity. Spiritually speaking, when God created humanity, he created us in his image and after his likeness. And the first thing I ask people, what's wrong with God? The answer is nothing. And what's broken with God? The answer is nothing. So what's wrong with you? The answer should be nothing. But we have to pull back all those layers to find ourselves. And that takes a little time. It takes coaching. It takes mentorship. And I mentor some of the best and the brightest around the world. And one of the first things that we do is to help them to get to know who they are. The second thing, we do a personal branding. And then the third thing, we do strategy. And it takes that kind of process in order for us to pull all of those layers back and to find our authentic self,
Talking with Dr. Cindy Trim. And when we come forward, I want to go a little bit more into this idea of who are you? It sounds so obvious. Not so simple as it sounds. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Hi, this is LA City Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to the 28th Annual Central Avenue Jazz Fest on September the 23rd from 11 to 7 p.m. For nearly 3 decades, the Central Avenue Jazz Festival has paid homage to the legendary Central Avenue and its influence on jazz history. Jazz, blues, and Latin jazz will be featured on 3 stages of music. Co-headlining are Hubert Laws with special guest Eloise Laws and the Billy Childs Quartet featuring Sean Jones. The day includes plenty of food, merchants, and 4 pavilions focused on youth programming, art, health and wellness, and public resources. Parking is limited, so Metro and rideshare are recommended. Hubert Laws with special guests Eloise Laws and the Billy Childs Quartet featuring Sean Jones. The day includes plenty of food, merchants, and 4 pavilions focused on youth programming, art, health and wellness, and public resources. For more information, visit CentralAveJazzFest.com. CentralAveJazzFest.com. See you on the 23rd.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with a quick recap for my time at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. There were speakers Ian Dunlap, Damon John, Lynn Richardson, MC Light, Don Kennedy, to name a few. Take a listen to what Justin Grant, Community Development Lead at Chase's Advancing Black Pathway, let's see what he had to say.
So I'm Justin Grant. I lead community development and national partnerships for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Pathway strategy. And so we're focused on strengthening the economic foundation of black communities, and we're making targeted investments in programs like the Advancing Black Wealth Tour to help us get our tools and resources out to the community to drive sustained impact over time.
So when it comes to black and brown people, it sounds like Chase is making it their personal responsibility not only to facilitate these events, but to educate and provide resources. So, Mr. Grant, I have to ask, what does wealth building look like for the individual?
It's home ownership, it's having that freedom to be able to start your own business and create jobs in your community, and it's having that long-term plan towards retirement, having that vision for what you want your life to be, and you have the resources to actually live it.
I'm Maisha Cairo. Thanks for sticking around. That was my recap from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. First stop was here in LA, and they're taking it national.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Now I'm talking with Dr. Cindy Trim, and her book is The Unstoppable Woman, Compete with Your Best Self and Win. Dr. Trim is an expert in empowering women. When you say you can't really take care of yourself until you know who you are, what do you mean by that? I mean, on the surface, it seems very basic, but I think it's a lot deeper than that.
It's very deep. I'm just going to give you this quote. You cannot outperform your current concept of self, nor rise above the level of your self-worth. So when I talk about getting to know yourself, it's all about self-mastery. And everyone hears this term, but I want to break it down. It starts with self-awareness, knowing where you and someone else begin. The most fundamental aggression towards yourself is to ignore yourself. The second is self-knowledge, which is different from self-awareness. And that is knowing yourself. I call it the I factor. You knew what you wanted the day that you were born, and you were able to demand it. And somewhere between that day and when we get 7, we have lost connection with ourselves, and we learned how to figure out what other people want from us rather than what we want for ourselves. So self-knowledge is getting to know who you are. And there are 12 factors. Where do I come from? What did I inherit? What's my personality? What's my vision? What's my goal? What's my mission in life? What's my assignment? All of that is self-knowledge. And then self-worth. So once upon a time in this uninhabited moment, you recognize your worth. Now, all it takes is what I call personal intelligence, or the courage to recognize it again. And I ask the question, could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? And what one thing can you change that can change everything? You can change the way you feel about yourself. Nothing's broken and nothing's wrong with you, your authentic self. And then self-approval. The biggest question is, do you really love yourself? And we have to examine our internal dialogue, the conversation we have with ourselves, about ourselves, in ourselves. And that's getting rid of self-loathing and self-doubting and self-sabotage and the imposter syndrome and all the limiting beliefs. And just approve yourself, approve your dreams, approve your goals, approve your worth. That is what I call self-approval. And that's the Forrest Gump strategy for living. And then self-commitment. Stop pleasing people. Love yourself enough that you can please yourself, and then you take 100% responsibility for your success, happiness, and prosperity. I'm married, but my husband is not responsible for my happiness, my peace, my joy, my prosperity, my success. I am. And when you take yourself seriously you'll write a vision for yourself, because if you're casual with your life will be a casualty. And then you have self-respect, self-care, and self-care starts with self-love. You cannot love a self that you don't know. And you have to reserve and maintain your own physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being.
Talking with Dr. Cindy Trim, and when we come forward, we'll have just a few minutes with her. She's off on tour with her book, and she's going to leave us with something. I don't know if it's an assignment, some homework, or just something to meditate on. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time, because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Dr. Cindy Trim stopping in this morning for a quick uplift and empowerment session. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, Dr. Trim. Congratulations on your new book. Congratulations on your tour with said book. What would you like us to contemplate on this Thursday?
If I can give people one advice, stop living on the circumference of someone else's life when you have the opportunity at living at the center of your own. And you have been casted to play the leading role in your own life. Stop being satisfied with playing a stand-in or supporting actress in someone else's.
Standing, how do we know if we're standing at the circumference of someone else's life, living there instead of centering ourselves in our own story?
Yes. You have a vision for your life for the next, if you can, write a 20-year vision, at least write a vision now for the next year. And at the end of the year, the beginning of the year, you ask yourself this question: how would I know that this year is successful? And you write that down. And at the end of the year, you'll be able to say, either I lived successfully for this 1 year or I didn't, because you would have achieved at least your bucket list.
Right, you created criteria. But when you say, talk about centering our own lives, it's I don't know, people think that is selfish, or that somehow that is, I think especially sometimes as women,
The most selfless thing you will ever do. Because when you nurture your best self, you're going to show up as your best self. That means you're going to be contributing your best to this world. And if each one of us are contributing our best to this world, then this world will inevitably become a better place to live in. We will push humanity forward.
Dr. Trim, can you give us an example of the kinds of things that are supposed to be in this vision, whether it's 1 year or 20 that we're writing?
Yes, absolutely. Number one, you got to start with your personal brand. And your brand is something that you can control. It's the invisible image that comes to a person's mind and the emotional attachment that they place to that image. And if that image is wrong, you are responsible for making it right. Number two, when you write a vision for your relationships. This is the art of putting people in their right place. And there are 12 circles that you could put people in, and you have to know where to put these people. And you're the one that manages that one. Putting people in their place is important. So that's that relationship. Then you have to have a vision for your immediate family, a vision for your marriage, a vision for your finances, a vision for your health. For instance, stop living haphazardly. You should have routines, nutritional, exercise, your health checkup. What time of the month do you go to the dentist, or what time of the year do you go for dental checkups, physical checkups as a woman, OBGYN? That should not be haphazard. That should be in your yearly goals. And then you've got to be able to write in there your rituals, your prayer, your meditation, your gratitude, your journaling, your me moment, reading a book. If you don't read a book a week, read a book a month.
Yes. Well, we're going to have to leave it there for today. It sounds like our assignment is long, but I feel like we can find it in your book. Dr. Cindy Trim, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate you.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Well said. And we have a lot to talk about today. Looking forward to the conversation. Caitlin Moran joins us next. Rebooting masculinity. What does it mean? Let's talk about it. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
We're nearing the end of a work week. It's Thursday, September 21st. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In California, one knew he was going to be there and targeted him. Americans will have access to more